I have a question, and don't fight me on this because I know how you conservatives like to tussle. Nowhere in that video did I mention my political affiliation, yet you automatically assumed that because I was advocating for human rights, that I was not a Trump supporter. Why is that? Why is that? I think that says more about you than it does about me, babe. I think it does.
So this TikToker stumbled on something that I think many of us have seen. Republicans basically identify people as being radical leftists if they suggest that people deserve basic human rights. If you suggest that people get access to food, water, housing, healthcare, or we just recognize people for who they are if they're gay or trans, or if we suggest that people shouldn't face discrimination based on race or gender. If you say any of those things, Republicans will immediately lash out at you and assume that you're some sort of radical leftists. They do this because they know fundamentally that they stand against those things. Now, of course, we're going to have a bunch of Republicans in the comments immediately saying, oh, we're against racism, we support human rights, but the truth is that they don't. You see, they only use that as a defense. A perfect example in this front is free speech. If you look at the question of free speech, Republicans will say they love free speech. They will say they love free speech, and they will cry and cry about being banned from Facebook, YouTube, and other platforms for spreading medical misinformation and for saying pretty explicitly racist and violent stuff. And they'll be upset about them being banned from those platforms. That is when they'll run around crying free speech. Now, why do they do that? These right-wingers say free speech because they know that free speech as a general concept is widely popular, so it's a way for them to take their extreme ideas and try and make it seem like it's normal. It's also how they try to bully platforms into giving them a foot in the door in order for them to spread fascism. Because the ultimate reality is, when they say they support all of these things, it's really just a matter of not wanting to be called out explicitly on these things. They say that they support free speech because they don't want to get banned from YouTube. But if these people were running YouTube, they would ban everybody on the left immediately. They would ban even liberals and moderates and centrists. They would ban basically anybody that isn't as fascist as they are. It's pretty clear that these right-wingers are against protests. Many of them have publicly expressed desires to run over protesters, and right-wing governors around the country have put in place a bunch of restrictions on protesting in general. So these people are not in favor of free speech, but they say that they are. And moments like this are really telling because this TikToker is saying something about human rights, leading to a bunch of people flooding in their comments saying, oh, Trump 2020, oh, you're a lib, is very emblematic of how these people think. The truth of the matter is, when these people think about rights, when Republicans think about rights, they think about rights that they deserve at the expense of everybody else. Just think about the pandemic. They think that they deserve the right to go to Chili's and not wear a mask. But that comes at the expense of basically every other person around them. Not only does it come at the expense of the waiters and waitresses that they are undoubtedly under tipping, but also anybody might get exposed to coronavirus because of them. Right-wingers do not think about rights as something that everybody deserves. They think about rights as something that they should be able to wield over people, which is not rights, it is actually privilege. And this is where we get to the reality of the situation. When right-wingers talk about rights, they are very often talking about doing things that protect their privilege, which is why you'll see these grifters use examples like certain individuals being banned from certain platforms for a period of time for using a word that is meant to sort of strike back at individuals who have been very privileged, historically speaking. And these grifters will say, see, this shows that all this censorship is wrong. That's why you should allow Nazis on your platform. Because you have to choose. There's no way to discern what people are saying. But the truth of the matter is, we can decide what is okay to have on a platform and what is not okay to have on a platform. It's very simple. If people are advocating for violence, they shouldn't be allowed on platforms. I think that's a basic limitation to free speech that we can all, for the most part, agree with, which is why you shouldn't allow Nazis on your platforms, because the Nazi ideology, fundamentally at its core, is a violent ideology that advocates for violence against marginalized people. That is why it should not be allowed on these platforms, and that's why most of these platforms don't allow it, or at very least don't allow it to be monetized. But that doesn't stop these right-wing grifters from claiming that there's no way to distinguish between these two things. Once again, all this is just a scheme by the right wing to try and jam their way into any platform that they possibly can. This is Ben Carollo with Rebel Headquarters. You can catch my show Galaxy Brain on the Young Turks Twitch channel every Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. You can follow me on Twitter if you want to stay up to date with my content.